Did you hear that? Yeah, I think the beach is calling and we need to be ready for it. So let's go ahead and hit the mats and get in a little beach body yoga. Okay? So, as always, and yes, I am doing this in a swimsuit, sorta. I got my shorts on, but whatever. So, as always, let's begin in our mountain pose, finding our base, finding our posture, finding our breath. So as always, we just kind of mess around with our mat, with our feet, finding ourselves comfortably rooted into the mat. Our ankles, knees, and hips are all in alignment. We're lifting through the pelvic floor, engaging our core muscles as we have a nice tall spine, rolled shoulders back and down, and we breathe. So let's take a few nice deep breaths as we contemplate the beach and the pool this summer. So inhaling nice and deep, exhaling through the nose. Let's go ahead and inhaling, bring our arms up into extended mountain over our heads, exhaling. Hands back down to our sides or to heart center. So of course, if we're heading out to the beach, we've got a lot of gear we have to haul with us. So, as we come back into an extended mountain, this time let's bring our hands down to our shoulders and just take a nice little twist here. We gotta be ready to haul all that stuff down. The chairs, the umbrella, the toys, the cooler, the blankets, the towels. It's all gotta go down. So as we are ready to get down to the beach, let's go ahead and grab our stuff and throw in some high knees, if you will, as we march our way down there over that nice warm sand. And eventually, we'll find that perfect spot, won't we? So coming back to mountain, we have found our spot. So let's go ahead and start setting up. Inhaling, extended mountain. Exhaling, just coming down into chair. And let's do this a few times as we unpack our gear and start setting it up. Now, of course, the thing that's the pain to set up is that beach umbrella. So this time we come down into our chair. Let's go ahead and open our arms and go ahead and twist to one side in our twisting chair as we try to set up that crazy umbrella. And coming back to chair in our center, let's go ahead and twist to the opposite side. And coming back to center, let's go ahead and stand up nice and tall. Now, we finally got everything set up. So you know what we finally get to do? Yeah, we get to actually get our toes in that sand. So kick off those flip-flops, those water shoes, and let's go ahead and roll our ankles a little bit, getting those toes into the sand. And one more time, let's go the opposite direction with them. So now that we've gotten there, we've set up, we're getting our feet warm. The sun is out, and you know what we gotta do? We're gonna salute that sun. So, if you're not already at the top of your mat, let's go ahead and get to the top of your mat for a little sun salutation. So the first time through our sun salutation, I'm gonna show you a nice gentle flow. And the second time through, I'm going to show you one that's a little bit more challenging. So of course, it's practitioner's choice. You can choose however you feel to do it today. It's up to you. So starting in our mountain pose, let's inhale, extended arms up above our heads. Exhale, we're not going to swan dive today. We're going to pelican dive down to our mat. Let's come up halfway with a flat back. Don't forget to keep a micro bend in your knees here. Exhaling, coming back down to that forward fold. Starfish fingers, of course, to the sides of your toes as we step back with that right leg down the length of our mat into our runner's lunge. And then let's have the left leg follow for a little downward dog. We've got our beach towel spread out.
Maybe we're fighting the wind a little, keeping all four corners down, but that's okay. It's all good, right? Okay, now after we've stretched ourselves out there, let's go ahead and drop our knees to our mat or our beach towel, releasing our feet as we're in our tabletop. Now, pressing forward into a mini plank, we're going to come down into baby crocodile. So let's just gently lower ourselves down to our mat. And then as we've reached our mat, let's press back up into a very gentle cobra. Now coming back down to our mat, we're going to press back up through that mini plank, coming back into tabletop, and now stretching back into our child's pose or our comfortable seated hero, whichever is more comfortable for you today. So, from our child's pose, we're going to come back up into our tabletop, tucking our toes back up into our downward facing dog, and taking that right foot back up to the top of our mat in our runner's lunge, or simply walking our feet back up to the mat so that we can end in our forward fold. Let's reverse that pelican dive, coming back up to extended mountain, exhaling as we sit in that beach chair. Now, we'll repeat this on the left side. So inhaling up to extended mountain, exhaling pelican dive, forward, hinging at the hips, into forward fold. Coming up halfway with a flat back, back down into forward fold. Starfish fingers to the sides of our toes. We'll step back with our left leg this time into our runner's lunge. If you'd like to challenge yourself a little bit today, let's go ahead and come up onto our plank. And then let's stretch back into downward facing dog. Now coming back into plank, we're going to shift our weight forward so our shoulders are over our fingertips rather than the heels of our hands as we come down into our chaturanga. Now untuck those feet, pressing up to upward dog. Back down into a flat back with our feet tucking back under. Pressing back up into plank, back into downward facing dog. Stepping up with the left leg to the top of our mat in our runner's lunge. Let's have the right leg join in our forward fold. Reversing our pelican dive, let's come up to extended mountain. Exhaling, chair. Inhaling back up to extended mountain. Exhaling, hands to our sides or to heart center. So from here, I think it's time we go for a swim. So, stepping back with the right leg all the way down the length of our mat, we will come into Warrior One. Our hips are still aligned with the short end of our mat for our Warrior One. Now, turning so that our hips are now aligned to the long length of our mat, coming into Warrior Two. Shoulders back and down, gazing out at the sea over our left hand. Perhaps we're swimming, perhaps we're surfing. What are we doing today? So let's go ahead and shift our weight forward and back, really enjoying the movement of the waves in the ocean. Is it cold? Yeah, it typically is around here. So let's go ahead and shift our weight forward and come into reverse warrior. For reverse warrior, we're going to bring our arms around as we come into side angle. Now coming back to Warrior Two, we're just going to flow this. So have fun with this. Shift forward, shift back, come into side angle. Your choice. Just enjoy the swim. It's entirely up to you. We'll just get in a few strokes here. Oh, so good. One more here. Coming back to Warrior Two. Let's go ahead and adjust our feet so we can come back into Warrior One with our hips facing the short end of our mat in our exalted warrior. We're going to take a few back strokes, maybe some butterflies here. Coming back with cactus arms, reaching forward, swooping down into humble warrior. And let's go ahead here and flow this just a little, however we feel we want to do it today. Just taking some nice, big, strokes as we swim through that beautiful water. Now coming back up to warrior one. Let's step back to mountain. Take a breath here. We're going to repeat this on the opposite leg. You stay where you're at. I'm switching sides simply so you can see me a little bit better. So this time from our mountain, let's inhale, arms extended up overhead. Exhaling back to our sides or to heart center. Go ahead, step down the length of your mat as we come into our nice big warrior one, exalting that glorious sunshine up there. Oh my goodness. Now, shifting to the long length of our mat, let's go ahead and come to warrior two. Remember, shoulders are back and down. Make sure we're not letting this knee fall in on us, okay? Gazing out over the water. Let's let the waves rock us a little again. Now shifting forward. Let's reverse that warrior. Oh, enjoy that nice stretch. And come around into side angle one more time. And again, let's take a swim here. Let's just enjoy this. At your own pace, at your own breath, we're just going to enjoy being out in the waves, letting it rock us back and forth. Whatever you want to do here, swoop your arms down, bring them up and over. Whatever feels good is what we are doing today. Now when we are ready, come back to warrior two. Now we're going to shift our weight so we can turn back into our warrior one. And coming down into humble warrior. And back up again into our exalted warrior, bringing our arms back to cactus arms. Let's take a few butterfly strokes, some breast strokes, some back strokes, whatever we feel like doing. We're just going to do it right now. Don't worry about what I'm doing. You just enjoy your swim. And one more time around, coming back to our warrior one. Now I'd like for you to go ahead and come down to the mat with your hands. We are going to turn our feet and come to a wide pose here along the long length of our mat. Because now it's time to take a little swim break and play in the sand. So you can keep your knees straight, but if that's a little uncomfortable, go ahead and put a little bend in your knees. I do like a little micro bend. It does feel a whole lot better. But we're going to stay in this forward fold on our mat, wherever it is comfortable for us to be today. Whether that is up high with a block under our hands, or letting ourselves just completely fall into that fold. So of course we're playing in the sand. We're noticing that nice warmth underneath us. And go ahead and run our hands back and forth across our mats. Now I'm going to very delicately touch mine, because if I'm rubbing my hands all over my mat, you're going to hear it. It's going to be really loud and it's going to interrupt my recording here. So go ahead and just feel free to drag your hands all up and down the length of your mat. Bring them to the sides. Bring them behind you. Whatever you want to do today as we play in the sand, smoothing it out, maybe piling it up in the middle. Whatever feels good. And when you're ready, let's go ahead and bring our weight back to our one foot, to the one side. I'm on my right side as we come back into our runner's lunge. And let's step back up into our forward fold, coming into mountain. So from forward fold, we will inhale, reverse that pelican dive as we come up to extended mountain. Exhale, hands to our sides or heart center. So we're breaking out the paddleboard, okay? So as we move on our paddleboard, we've got to be able to get this motion going on. So let's go ahead and just take our arms and enjoy a nice little sweep as we paddle that board.
And you know you got to keep your balance on these boards pretty good or you're going in. So let's go ahead and come back to our mountain. We're going to find our base, find our posture. We're kind of coming to a little balancing twist. Now, we're going to be taking one of our legs and we're going to be bringing it up in front of us at 90 degrees. Now, if you prefer, you can just go ahead and bring the foot out to the front, put a little support on those toes right there if you'd like to. So from here, we are going to take our hands to our sides and twist in the direction of that leg that's out front. And just try and maintain this pose for a few breaths here. Now, to bring it to a little more challenge on our paddle boards, let's go ahead and lift that knee up in the air, taking the opposite hand to the knee, the other hand out to our side, and take that twist from our high balancing pose on our paddle board. Now, unwrapping ourselves, coming back to center, let's go ahead and see if we've got the same type of balance today on the opposite side, because you know some days you don't. It's just the way it is, and we roll with it, right? Just like the waves, we just keep on going. So go ahead and take whatever posture you are comfortable with today, wrapping that opposite hand, opening up that side, and taking a nice deep twist. Don't forget to breathe. Inhaling that salty air. Now coming back to center. And of course, there is the Instagram moment on that paddleboard. Yeah, everybody's doing it. So we're going to give our Instagrammers a tree pose. So we can take our foot to the side of our ankle if we choose to. We can come up into a full balance with our foot below our knee. Or if we feel like a challenge, we can bring it above our knee. The only thing we don't want to do is to be pressing that foot into that knee, because as we do that, we're going to throw ourselves off balance, but we're also putting a lot of pressure on that patella, and we really don't want to do that. So go ahead and take whatever position you are comfortable with today. I am going to go ahead and bring my foot up. I find that sometimes when I have on long leggings, this doesn't work so well because my foot slides on the leggings. Now, our hands can be at heart center. Our hands can be out to the sides. We can bring them into T, or we can go ahead and bring them all the way up, extended above our heads, and telling our friends and family, take the picture! Take it now! All right, and coming back out of our tree pose, let's go ahead and give that ankle a little rest there, because we got one more chance to do this tree on our board, hoping not to fall. So make sure our toes are really spread out wide. We're really feeling that board underneath us as we come into our tree on the opposite side. And again, as you are ready, you can choose whatever arm position works for today. And one more time, tell them, get a good one. This one's going on Instagram, right? Okay. And when you're ready, go ahead and bring your arms back down to your sides. Coming back into our mountain. So if you're at the top of your mat, let's go ahead and from mountain, inhale our arms up overhead. Exhaling, pelican dive, forward hinging at the hips. To our forward fold, starfish fingers to the sides of our feet. Let's just step back into downward facing dog. Nothing fancy here. We are done being out on the water for now. We're going to get back down in the sand. And dropping our feet, we're coming to tabletop. Now, I don't know if your family is crazy like mine, but sometimes somebody is going to suggest, let's do a pyramid. So if you're on the bottom of that pyramid, we got to make sure we're strong. We got a nice strong back. So let's go ahead and from our tabletop position, let's just kind of let our hips and our shoulders move to one side to make our spine form like a letter C.
Just go ahead and get a nice little stretch here along the sides. Let's do a little cat-cow. So, we're going to inhaling, coming up to cow, exhaling, tucking in like a cat. Now you'll see too that when I do this, I'm rotating my shoulders and my elbows are following, so I'm really getting a nice, good stretch across the back. Now, some of us might end up on the top of that pyramid. So in addition to our strength, we're going to need to be on point with that balance. So coming back to neutral spine, let's go ahead and do a spinal balance. So taking one foot out behind us with a flexed foot and the opposite hand out as if we're going to shake someone's hand. And let's go ahead and hang on to this spinal balance for just a moment. Really engaging our core. And coming back down to all fours. Go ahead and take that spinal balance on the opposite side. Now as we're doing this, we want to feel as if there is a string, if you will. Or maybe in this case, we're at the beach, a popsicle stick. Right from our crown of our head all the way down. Everything is nice and long and straight. And coming back down onto all fours one more time. So maybe that pyramid was successful, maybe it wasn't, but let's go ahead and do a little flying cow so we are prepared in the event we end up on the bottom of that pile. So coming back into child's pose. And now into our comfortable seated hero's pose. We are going to inhaling, bringing our arms up into our kneeling extended mountain. Exhaling, we're going to come to child's pose with our arms really stretched out as far as we can in front of us. And now dropping our elbows to our mat, we're going to let our body slide through as we come to a low cobra. We call this our flying cow. And pressing back up, let's come into child's pose. But this is a good one. And back to hero as we come into extended mountain. Because yes, if we end up on the bottom of that pile, we're going to need to be able to get ourselves out from underneath all that mess. And back, pressing to child's. We'll do this 2 more times. So inhaling from hero, kneeling extended mountain. Exhaling child's pose. Letting ourselves come to the mat with our arms stretched way out in front. Dropping those elbows as we snake ourselves through into that cobra. And back down, we'll press through. Coming back to child's pose. Last time through flying cow. Inhaling and exhaling. Moving at the pace of our own breath. Elbows down. Pulling ourselves through. And back down as we come back into child's pose. And let's hang out here for just a moment in our child's pose. Now coming back to table, we're just going to turn ourselves over because if we are fortunate, we might be at a beach that's got those paddle boats, the ones with the great big giant tires on them. You know what I'm talking about. So, of course, we got to ride those boats. So let's go ahead and from our seated position, we're going to come into boat pose. So we can do this with our hands at our sides if we feel comfortable and bringing our legs so that they're horizontal to the ground. Now, of course, we can always keep our feet on the ground for this one as well. We want to try and make sure we have a nice straight spine. We don't want to be curling into this one, okay? We're trying to get this core activated here. So we can come to this boat, or we can have our hands on our legs or out to the sides as we hold on to this boat. And like I said, it's a pedal boat. You got to pedal this baby. So let's go ahead and extend one leg out and then the opposite leg. Now, if your legs are down on the mat, we can simply do this by taking turns with each leg, one at a time.
stretching them out and holding them up off of our mat. So again, from our boat pose, let's go ahead and pedal that boat up and over those waves. Oh, this is a good one. Really feel that core. Oh my gosh. Now, coming back to our boat, let's go ahead and let our feet come down to our mat. And with our hands under our thighs, helping ourselves roll back down onto our backs. We're going to take one nice little stretch here. So taking one of our legs, let's go ahead and bring it into our chest for a nice, comfortable stretch here. And then crossing it over into figure 4 on our opposite leg. We can stay right here. We can add a little pressure here if we want to really get a little more stretch in there. Or we can go ahead and grasp under our thigh and bring it in for a little extra stretch here. Now stay in this position, letting your hands go. We're going to take that knee that's on top and we are going to go ahead and cross it over a little bit farther, because we're going to go ahead and bring our arms up to our sides and let our legs fall to the side of our mat. Hopefully I'm not out of the shot here so you can see me as we come into a little conch shell. We're collecting shells today too, because yeah, you got to do that at the beach. So we have this glorious conch shell, so beautiful, spiraling all the way up from the very bottom tip to the top. And coming back up to center, let's go ahead and release our legs as we come back down onto our beach towel, bringing the opposite leg into our chest this time. And crossing it over for a nice figure 4 stretch here. Either pressing out away from us or going ahead and bringing that leg in a little tighter. Now releasing our hands, we're going to go ahead and bring this knee across. Arms up at our heads so we can go ahead and let our legs fall over into our beautiful seashell. I love collecting the shells, love seeing all the different beautiful colors inside the shells. And coming back up to center, let's go ahead and unwrap our legs here and let ourselves come to the side so we can come up into our comfortable seated pose. Because you know what? What's a trip to the beach without a mermaid? So from our hero pose, let's inhale our arms up overhead. Exhaling, letting ourselves come to one side of the mat. We can certainly keep our hands up over our head as we take this lateral flexion here, or if we need to, we can bring our arms down to our side for a little extra support. It's all good. Now on our inhale, let's come back up to center. Exhale, mermaid to the opposite side. And coming back up to center, let's go ahead and inhale, exhale, and bring our hands back down. So, I hope you have an opportunity to hit the pool, hit the beach this summer, and if not, then just take a few moments to close your eyes and imagine the warmth of the sun and the sand and the coolness and the saltiness of those waves. And I hope that brings you some peace and relaxation. And if you do get a chance to get out there, make sure you wear your sunscreen. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.